Any James Taylor song just is awesome.
Take to the highway, won't you lend me your name? Your way of my way seem to be one and the same.
Well, Mama don't understand it.
Oh yeah, welcome Kris to the show. Welcome to the greatness machine, Mr. Kris Kaplan, who I want to know. What's up, brother?
Getting to know Darius a little bit more. What's going on, brother from another mother?
Oh, man. I love it, man. Hey, by the way, everybody, welcome to the greatness machine. I'm your host, Darius Mirshahzadeh, and we have none other than Mr. Kris, the man, Kaplan, with us here today. Welcome, Kris, to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. And my t-shirt says it all. I promise to act a little bit adultish, a little childish.
That makes one of us. I make no fucking problem at all. So guys, first of all, the format of the show is quite simple. We're bringing together change makers who are living their passions to create greatness in the world around them. And today we have quite the change maker, quite the greatness maker. We have the greatness machine I know and love, Kris Kaplan. So a couple things to know about the show, guys. I just want to give some ground rules. We are live streaming, though, so what that means that we are live. Start a watch party. Ask us questions. Look, I have my team on standby ready for any instant message. They're going to be instant messaging questions, so just drop questions into the feed on our on the Facebook page. If you're live streaming on YouTube, you can come over to Facebook, drop us questions. It's at Darius. At what is it? What is my name now? Oh, it's at. I don't even know my. Anyway, I'll remember it later. At the real Darius M. I had a little bit of brain lapse.
Somebody please put it in the chat room.
Yeah, the COVID just popped into my head and made me forget. So anyway, guys, we do have a very special guest. I want to tell you a little bit about him. You guys always give me your bios that you put on your books and whatnot. I like to do my own bios. So I know and love Kris as a serial entrepreneur. He successfully built and exited high growth businesses that he's built from startup to scale. And he now runs K2 coaching for you entrepreneurs who want to learn the art of the scale. And he's all about going from fat to fit, competing and completing. Is it 8 Ironmans?
Yeah, baby.
Dude, you are a freaking
7
monster.
wasn't enough. 7 was not enough.
Yeah, well, let's just go for a cool 8. Jeez, Louise. Dude, welcome to the show, bro.
Hey, it's awesome to be here. On this whole fat to fit journey, I lost a bunch of weight and I showed up to our GOT event and you found it. And then you lost a bunch of weight and I found it. And now we're both down and keeping it off. So somebody out there has it. And hey, whoever it is, you're welcome to keep it.
You could have it. Hey, dude, I think I had it. I think I had it while you had it and then some. Yeah, no, dude, I'll tell you what, man, weight. You
were an inspiration and are to so many on that journey. If people don't know, tell us what the number is. What'd you lose so far?
I've put a few back on, but I'd lost at my peak. It was like 154 pounds.
There.
And then I'm up about 15 from there, but I'm working out like a madman right now. So that's part of it. It's a couple pounds of muscle, a couple pounds of COVID beer weight. Dude, I'm telling you, COVID's it's hard. Dude, I've never drinking this much in my life. I mean, it's kind of sketchy. I'm I'll just have a couple beers every day. I was a guy that never drank. I drink like 3 times a year. So anyway.
Yeah, I'm going to be, as a 31-year sober guy, I'm going to be the only one who says go for it, right? I'm not going to tell you that you need AA because that'll probably screw up your drinking. And I like you how you are.
Yeah, no, it's good, man. I was telling, I don't remember who I was telling, one of my friends, it said I picked up 2 habits in COVID, drinking beer and swimming. But the beer thing, I was, but I realized that it's not the alcohol, it's the taste. I actually like the taste of certain beers a lot, like kind of like how you like to eat licorice or something like that. Because I don't like all beers. I like Blue Moon. I can't even keep Blue Moon in my house because I'll pound through it. But you could have another beer there. I don't even care for it. So.
And now everyone knows what to send you.
Dude, if you really, don't.
Yeah, John Rulin on the show yesterday or the other day, and now you know what to gift Darius.
Yeah, gift me blue. No, listen, I used to tell my wife, when I was overweight, I used to tell my wife, I'm like, hey, do not leave this stuff. Like I would she'd buy like food, like snacks and stuff. And I'd get it like unopened and launch it in the trash.
Okay.
And I started doing that with Blue Moon. I'm like, honey, like seriously, like you can't buy this. This is like, you're going to turn me into an alcoholic. And I don't need that habit. So anyway, damn you beer. But I just got done swimming actually right before the call. I swam 5/8 of a mile.
Nice.
So you're Ironman. Like tell us a little bit about, well, first of all, did I nail your bio or is there like more to add that you want to throw in there?
You know, I think the less you say about yourself before you start talking, the better.
Okay.
It's a 2.4 mile swim. I mean, it's ridiculous, right? The first time I ever heard someone talk about it, I'm like, I remember seeing those videos when I was a kid. I think it'd be kind of really cool to do something like this, but I was 240 pounds at the time, size 40 waist, and that was a Lucky brand, size 40 waist.
Oh, that's
probably
generous.
like a lot. It's probably a lot bigger if you buy like other, Levi's or whatever another jean brand is. And this speaker was talking about doing Ironman, and two of them back-to-back speakers, Jack Daly and Mark Moses, many, many moons ago. And I'm like 2.4 mile swim, followed by a 112 mile bike. And then I got to run a marathon, which is 26.2 miles. I was living in Boston at the time. And I'm like, one, I can't run a half mile without wanting to kill myself or someone else. And two, I don't like to drive 26.2 miles. What, like run it? What are you, crazy? And it was 2009. Stock market had crashed. We lost 60% of our business overnight. Every decision I made was wrong, no matter if it was right or wrong. Nothing I did really mattered. And I had a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old who were like, Daddy, take me to the park. Daddy, take me to the park. And I was like, I got to do something for myself to be there for them when they really, really need me.
Right.
And at this rate, that's not going to happen. And I'm like Forrest Gump, man. I went to the gym and went for a bike ride, went for a run, did some weights, jumped in the pool, and signed up for a small triathlon, and then 8 others, because if you like one thing, you might as well like 8 of them.
Yeah, why not?
And then after 10 years, completed 8 full Ironman triathlons, a whole bunch of halves, a bunch of marathons, and countless smaller races. And now I like yoga.
Yeah, baby. Speaking of yoga, we'll go there in a second, but so I did what do they call them, a sprint triathlon once, and this is back when I weighed like 360, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna use this to get in shape, right? Like, but like obesity, like there's being overweight, and then there's the disease of obesity, and they're two different things, and unfortunately, the general population mixes the two up, and they're like, oh, like I got to lose 15 pounds is way different than like I'm dying of obesity. And so I was dying of obesity. And that's where your body's actually like if I wasn't on a diet, I was actually gaining weight. I'm not fucking joking. Like if I was not literally on a diet, I would be gaining weight. But before I solved the problem, which was a pretty dramatic solve, I've tried everything, one of which was a triathlon sprint. So I made a cardinal mistake in my triathlon sprint training. I want to hear your thoughts on this. So first of all, I bought a bike, that's not a big deal. And I figured, okay, and sprints, I don't remember. It's like 10-mile bike ride or something like that. So it's not far. It's like a half-mile swim, 10-mile bike ride, 3-mile run, right? Now, when you're 360 pounds, running is like, really, it's like torture because your feet are like not meant to carry that much load. Like it's not like your feet muscles get stronger, your bones get bigger and more dynamic to handle 360 pounds. It's just like, I always say it's like having a pickup truck when you put way too much weight in the back. That's what you do to your body when you're obese every day of your life. So I made the cardinal mistake, and I trained the swimming only inside a pool in the gym. And so I went, and it was open water in the ocean. And so I go, and by the way, when you're 360 pounds, it's pretty hard to find a actual wetsuit. So I go and I rent a wetsuit, And I'm not joking. I go and do the day before to like, you know, get ready, test everything out. We go to like, you go sign up and get your badges and all that stuff. I go in the ocean, and I'm not joking, dude. My zipper broke on my wetsuit. And dude, like, I've been training for this for like 4 months, and I was good. I could do it like inside the pool and in the road and 3-mile run. I could do all that stuff. My whole thing was I just want to complete the thing. And so my wife, we go to Michael's, and my wife buys like heavy duty, like metal yarn or like metal thread to like fix it, because it's like rubber. It's a wetsuit, right? And she fixes it. We go test it. It works. So day of the race, I go out, start swimming. I'm probably, I don't know, I'm in last place by far. And then I feel the wetsuit fucking break. And I'm probably like at most 100 yards into the swim. And dude, swimming with the broken zipper in your wetsuit, it's like running with a parachute on.
It's not fun.
No, not fun. It didn't work. And so I realized, and in open water, and I can't see because the water's like murky and dark. And so within like 5 minutes, I wave over the kayak people and they pull me out. Right. And I'm so pissed. I just trained for 4 months for this. So I asked them, I'm like, well, can I at least complete everything else? They're like, oh, I'm sorry, sir. You know, once you're done, you're done. And I was like, oh, okay, no problem. So they pull me out and I'm like, fuck these people. And so I literally take off my wetsuit, hop on my bike, do the bike ride, the 10 miles. Sure. And then I do the 3-mile run and finish it. But I realized 2 things that day. First of all, don't swim in a broken wetsuit. And if you're ever going to do open water swim, you better go train open water, because it's way different than swimming in a pool. And lastly, if you're Darius with 360 pounds, flat feet, bad knees, you shouldn't do anything that involves running at all.
It's the kayaker was wrong. You could have swam to the kayak, taken your wetsuit off, and completed the race. As long as they don't move you forward, as long as you haven't had any assistance from them moving forward, you could take a nap there for an hour. As long as you finish by the deadline and drop your wetsuit off, you're not responsible for that. And I only know that because in a race in Boston, I jumped into the water, took 3 paddles, and I felt the zipper go zip.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not a good enough swimmer to do this. So had to do that once before. Running with a lot of extra weight is, there's no accounting for size in the half Ironman and Ironman community. And it's one of the things that always gives me some inspiration being out on the course, is that you see everything out there, right? There is literally no excuse somebody can give me for why they can't do it. And from size, you're telling this story, to I've got a friend named Harry, and he's in Connecticut, and he runs marathons under the Achilles team, and he's in a wheelchair. He pushes himself backwards with one leg that's bent off to the side.
What?
Yeah. And he's done multiple.
And he completes
the Boston Marathon and New York Marathon. And I was just talking to a blind runner a couple of weeks ago, and she's like, oh, you're talking about my good friend Harry. And I'm like, I can't wait to have lunch. So I've met him on the course a number of times and told the story about him a number of times. And then I was telling the story about him during this talk I was giving. And she's like, I can connect. So I'm going to meet Harry.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. But you can't. So between that and then, the 300-pound guy, 360-pound guy, like, please tell me your reason why you can't do it. Like, I said hi to a guy. I'm like, great job. That's awesome. There was a guy on a tandem bicycle, which means he's blind, right? I'm like, you're doing a great job. On the second loop Ironman, I passed him, which meant he was in front of me for the whole swim and for the first lap of the bike, because I passed him on the second loop. And on the second loop, I'm like, nice job, ready to go. And the bike tandem, his guide is like, he's deaf. I'll sign it to him later. I mean, I'll touch it to him later. I'm like, he's deaf and blind, and he's big and fat, and he's in a wheelchair. But like, please tell me why you can't do it.
Yeah, I just hate it. I just didn't like it. That was my.
Yeah, well, there's that. All right. That's not I can't. That's I don't want to.
Yeah. It became real simple. I'm like, oh, this just sucks. I don't like it. So for me, and so I have another really quick funny story. But before we go there, God, I'm gonna tell the story, and you're gonna love it. So I was before I trained by myself in the pool. I did this thing called Team in Training. You know Team in Training?
Yes, I do.
So Team in Training is this nonprofit. So if anyone out there wants to do the crazy shit that Kris is saying he likes to do, you could join Team in Training, and it's like an organization that raises money for, I think, Cancer and Lymphoma Society, and basically they'll train anyone from startup to a race, and you could pick the race, and there's all these
couch to whatever race you want.
Yeah, couch to any race you want. And so, and they do marathons, they do tries, they do all these things. And so someone recommended I do Team in Training. So I go to my first workout in Team in Training. Now, mind you, I'm super, super, super fucking competitive. I'm like one of the most competitive people, like to the point where it's not toxic and where I don't let it affect other people around me, but just one hair below that, like inside it eats at me. And so I was a D1 athlete. I was an athlete growing up. Like, dude, I don't let my kids win. I was just swimming with my son. I didn't let him win one lap that we swam. So, and I just don't believe in it, man. I'm just like, it's not about me winning. It's about him not thinking that he's allowed to win. And so basically
it's about you winning.
What's that?
It's about you winning.
All right. A little bit. I mean, just slightly. So I go to the first, so I trained so that when I showed up to Team in Training, I wouldn't be like pathetic. And dude, mind you, I'm fucking morbidly obese. So like, it's really hard for me to do anything more or less besides lift heavy shit. And so I go and I do the Team in Training. I do the swim. It's fine. And then they have us do a run. And I think they're trying to put us in training groups essentially. Right. So we're running on this parking lot in Marin, California on like a Saturday. And they have these cones set up and everyone's running and they're just kind of trying to gauge our time. And dude, I have really flat feet and really bad knees. So I'm like halfway through the run, if you want to even call it that. It's like a jog walk. And dude, my feet are on fire. Like I have plantar fascia like you've never felt. Like it felt like someone was stabbing my fucking foot every step I took, like with a knife. And with that, it was like a hot poker. And so everyone's done except me and like a couple of the types of people you're describing right now. And Team in Training is all about supporting your teammate. Okay. Now they're at the end of this like parking lot, and they're dude, it's like the group clap. Yeah, you can do it. And I'm telling you, bro, I was absolutely fucking mortified. Like they were just trying to be supportive, but for me, I was so embarrassed and like. So I was like, that was the last thing I wanted was that team support for me to complete my like pathetic lap running. And I got in my car at the end and I never went back. I was like, I'm like this, it was torture for me. So I do appreciate though, the one thing about the tri community I saw was that was a big part of it was cheering people on, which during the race, I actually liked it during the race. It gave me motivation, but I didn't want it when I was like literally limping with like someone without legs next to me, like that part it just made me feel pathetic, but which is probably that's my own shit, I guess. But yeah, I don't know, man. I think that community is a really beautiful community. I saw a lot of kids involved, family oriented, and it's promoting health. And a lot of it's around fundraising, man. So kudos to you for doing that. Is there any so are you have any races coming up or anything big?
I stopped racing on my 50th birthday. So coming up on 2 years ago. And I was thinking about doing something this year, but COVID's kind of ruined that. I'm pretty sure that next year there'll be a race. I did last year and the year before. I did rim to rim to rim challenge walk, which is walk across the Grand Canyon north to south, south to north, or it's spending the night. Raise money for Family Reach, who you had on the show last week, Carla. Yeah. And the next big challenge physically, I haven't really carved it. I don't know yet.
If it's not a triathlon or an Ironman and it doesn't involve running, let me know.
Okay. Well, so yeah, it'll, it could be one of the guys who we did it last year, raising money for Family Reach. We've started talking about possibly summiting Mount Rainier. Oh,
that's interesting. Yeah, I know some people have done that. You know what else? I was thinking. I had this guy in my BOD
because you can die doing it.
oh yeah, I totally dismissed him. Like, yeah, that sounds like fun. That's in what Mount? It's Washington, right?
Yeah.
Dude, I saw. It's
beautiful.
It's a massive. So how do you summit it? What is it? Do you have
right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot. Repeat often.
But do you have to like, is it a glacier?
You hire a guide, and you shouldn't do it without one. It's totally safe to do, but it has some element of danger. It has some element of hardness. It has some element of weather. And it's one of those things you do this time of year is one of the best times because it's possibly the warmest. I'll keep you posted. But I'll keep you posted on other things as well. I haven't figured out. I thought maybe 50-mile run or 100-mile run with Rendell in the woods or something like that. But I don't don't love the long distance running, and I don't like riding my bike outside any longer. Too many friends have been. I don't know. I mean, yoga was my physical challenge. I have, in 2 years of doing, a year and a half of doing yoga, unwound everything that hurt and that was wrong as a result of 10 years of Ironman. And that's a nice accomplishment.
Yeah, man, because it's all like soft tissue and mobility. Like this book. There's a book actually I want to show you. You might know this book. You know this book? Becoming the Supple. Yeah, this is a really good book that I haven't read. Anyone that knows me is going to laugh right now. They're like, Darius referring books again that he hasn't read. Supple Leopard by Kelly Starrett. But yeah, mobility is a big deal, man. Like a lot of people, especially if you're an athlete or you like to do these athletic things, we get focused on like the do, but like a big part of the do is the recovery and the getting ready for the next do, you know? So that's
the mobility as a result of the 400, 600 hours of practice now is ridiculous. And so whatever it is that I choose later, it'll hurt a whole lot less than it was at 50 years old. And I think that's kind of the goal now is I want to come into 75 in way better shape than I am today at 52.
Yeah. So
I got 23 years of improvement still coming my way.
I love it, man. So I had a guy on my show a couple weeks ago, or 2 weeks ago, Chris Ripley, and he was talking about this, how he went to this thing, it's like the 360 conference. And, and you know that conference?
I've heard of it.
It was all about like living, like life, like extending your life and living like this crazy life. Right. And they're like, most people when they're, call it, 40, I'm 42. So let's pick my age. They're like, oh, like if you think your life's going to end at 80, do you live differently? And a lot of that has to do with what is the quality of life going to be, during those last years, because we've witnessed, and I think it's a lot of this has to do with medicine and science and understanding of physiology and a lot of nutrition. We've witnessed a lot of our grandparents deteriorate pretty badly, right? Even our parents, like my father died 20 years ago, and he had MS and cancer and diabetic, and the guy deteriorated. And I was like, oh, I don't want to go out like that. And so you look at what you just said, which is I want to be better at 75 than I am at 53. Is that correct? 52?
52 next couple weeks.
Yeah. So like that, and that's the whole mentality around this 360 conference, which is what if you could live your best life in your the most healthiest, most productive years into your last years. And I just heard this book that Rick Sapio recommended to me. It's a man that stole the secrets of the world. I think that's what it is. I'm forgetting the name of it. I'll put it in the live feed. But basically, they're talking about the most productive people in the world are the most productive. Like when you look at like Da Vinci and Galileo and these amazing minds, right? These guys were the most productive the later part of their life because of the way that they engaged in life. And I love that perspective that you're having, which is I want to be the most productive physically, and with that comes mentally later in life. That's incredible, dude. Thank you for sharing.
We both have a mentor in our life, Jack Daly, who is really the guy who inspired me to Ironman. He didn't learn how to swim until he was 53. So I like a whole year from where I am now is when he started that. And he's known as Iron Jack, right? So there's, look at Peter Drucker, didn't write his first book until like the first book that we know that Peter Drucker wrote, I think he was 63 years old. And then 2/3 of all of his books happened after that point. So there's I work in 10, 25-year segments with clients. You know, we're thinking about like, what's your North Star? And I don't know, when I was somewhere between 50 and 52, I've really settled on my next North Star is 75. So I know a bunch of 75-year-olds. I ride with this guy, Charlie, who's, I think he's 83 now, who can outride me. He is in better shape than I am. And I'm in pretty damn good shape.
Yeah.
Right. And Charlie just makes Rich and I look like pathetic little morons. And it's ridiculous. But he's like, so it's not hard for me. I need to visualize, right? If you show me something's possible, anything is possible. I just need to just show it to me once, right? On that. And then all of a sudden, all my belief systems change and all my thought processes change and all my actions and decisions change and move me in a direction of making that happen. And it's so it's I'm blessed because I've got some really old, super healthy, smart, doing well people in my life. So there we go.
Well,
peace out, Jack.
Dude, Jack's going to be on the show, I think, in like a couple weeks. So
awesome.
Yeah, I'm pumped to have him. He's a freaking maniac. I didn't know that he didn't start swimming until he was 53, but that goes to show you, right? Like you're making such a great point that this is all around mindset, right? That people get so stuck and start telling themselves these stories of what they can and can't do.
I'm a big believer, so there's mindset coaches out there right now, and somebody said, I think I need to work with a mindset coach. And I'm like, I don't even actually know what one does, but sure. I said, but I do know this. In 1954, on April 16th, Roger Bannister broke the 4-minute mile after 96 years of trying. And within 9 months, 6 other people broke the 4-minute mile because they realized it was actually possible. Now, today, it's the standard at the high school level. And I don't think sneaker technology has changed that much.
No.
So, the mind's amazing. As a coach, when I see somebody get clarity and then find people that have been there or find a path that gets them there with you. And we share a very common belief, which is if you want to get to where you want to get, 1, you need to have a vision to that. 2, you need to wrap some values around it. And 3, for me, you need to put a purpose behind it all. And when I've got all 3 of those things aligned, like anything is possible. But it starts with that vision of I see it, I feel it, I smell it, I taste it. I describe it in vivid detail in a document of what crossing that finish line looks like. Like, what does 75 look like for me is crystal clear. And now it's just a question of reverse engineering that and making sure that I'm doing something today that moves me in that direction.
Yeah. It's
while attending to, for this call, truth is it has to stay within the core values of me.
Yeah, it's that authenticity and I think that this is where we're in a special time right now where I think that people are really uncomfortable with the authenticity they're seeing because it's in multiple directions, and some of it's toxic authenticity and some of it. And I think that's really more coming out of frustration. I think there's a lot of manipulation that's happening. But I think that when we look at this crossroads we're at politically, so from a societal level, it goes back to what you're saying, which is we are in a paradigm shift that's values, vision, and mission driven. And everyone wants this vision of a greater future, but they're not. I think that where they're struggling is you have these cross stream of different values and missions. And where I look at it is going back to this thought that, dude, 85% of what we all want is the same. We all want to live a good life, and we all want better for our kids, right?
You mean all those people in the middle?
Yeah, like all of us, right? But when you look at your coaching practice, or you look at like the business that you're promoting, and the leaders you're working with, I mean, how are you seeing that they're reacting to this environment right now? Is, COVID is one element of it. COVID's like this catalyst that's ripping apart the seams of these other areas that are weak and broken, right? So what are you seeing from a coaching perspective with the entrepreneurs and CEOs and organizations you're working with?
So 2 things, when you said something about like we're seeing anger and frustration with things that are going on, or things that the way that what's gotten us to here. There's a number of I thank you for decodifying like this process, a really solid process for discovering within an organization what values are. I'm sure I'll rip off and duplicate a whole bunch of that in my practice, because that's what R&D means to me. I think, because it's always like just there's a mission to Mars exercise. There's the like loathe exercise. There's a lot of different ways to get there, right? And there's a litmus test once you have them. But one of the ways to get there was, and what really fucking pisses you off? Tell me, when you're involved, when you see something happen and it just fucking gets under your skin and makes it boil. Tell me about that, because the reverse is probably a value.
Yeah.
So it depends on the client. It depends on the person. It depends on the organization of like that approach doesn't work for everyone, clearly, but some people, it's a really good way to litmus test it. When we've, this real relationships is a core value of mine. No assholes, no douchebags allowed. And which is why I loved Ironman. I loved my entrepreneurs organization. I loved my GOT community, and I loved my Alcoholics Anonymous community, because there were all these communities that were designed and built around peers, moving people forward, creating real relationships. And, it was all the other stuff that's like, not interested, don't care. Like if we were not interested in making each other's lives a little bit better, learning a little bit more, digging a little deeper, finding out for me, it's about how do we make ourselves better? Not what can you do for me to make me better, but how can we make ourselves better? And that's what creates a great real relationship for me. And it's what I look for.
Yeah. That's solid, man. And I think that you're kind of hitting on something.
You asked a question about like clients. I think those that have a real sense of their core values and are living, eating, and breathing them. I have a retail store that's been spanked, absolutely crushed, right? I mean, they were told to shut down, and it recently allowed to reopen. And with all of these policies and procedures in place that make life very difficult. There's a conversation between employees. There's a conversation from customer to employer, from employee to customer. And one of the core values there is welcomed with a warm heart. Right. So how do you have a mask on or a double mask on and wash and get somebody to wear a mask that isn't wearing a mask or whatever, while still welcoming them with a warm heart? And when we took it back to core values as the thought process, as the conversation that the employee needed to have, it just made it that much easier. And those that couldn't do that, weren't welcome with a warm heart people, it become evidently clear who doesn't fit in the culture.
Yeah, it's funny because I think that you're making a great point in language, right? Like the book and the core value equations, all about authenticity and that attracting the teams that really resonate with the same belief structure that the organization promotes and believes in. And so when it comes out authentically, then greeting with a warm heart is not hard, because that's just what you do by default, right? It's where people, and I actually think people, if you strip away bullshit and the trauma and the depression and the things that life kind of happens to people, probably everyone would greet with a warm heart. But unfortunately, and I don't think I think that's hard. It's hard for some people though, because personal values are an onion, and you got to get to them. And so a lot of times they got a lot of crud around them and that they can't get to. So, but when an organization leads with that, at least they have the chance of promoting clients that believe in it, and they have a chance of bringing team members that believe in it. And that becomes, in my experience, like a snowball effect. The minute I put it out there, and the organization has the control to put it out there, the client's not going to come in and be like, why aren't you guys leading with a warm heart? They're not going to do it. They're going to look for an organization that's doing it explicitly themselves, and then they're going to gravitate towards that organization. And then with them, and what I found is it becomes a snowball effect. 1 turns into 2, turns into 4, turns into 8, turns into 16, 32, 64, 128. Before you know it, you're surrounded by this. And the people that don't believe in it, they're like, what's up with that touchy, lovey, feely place over there? They're all, and they get offended and leave because it's not, it's too much for them. And the people, and then.
Or they embrace it. So I just had the opportunity to send my 16-year-old son to go work in this store he went there for 4 weeks, and summer job, great summer job for him, because there really wasn't a summer job here in Connecticut for him. And I was bringing him home Sunday from upstate New York back to Connecticut. We stopped at the Thruway, and he wanted to get some food. And he's a 16-year-old boy who likes Siege, Grand Theft Auto, and he likes to kill people, right? He's a professional assassin, right? Yeah, I think he gets points for pulling a hooker out of a car and beating her up, right? I mean, Grand Theft Auto is a horrible game. Whatever. Who doesn't talk too much? Who, when he left the counter after grabbing his bag, was like, "Bye, thank you, have a great day." And I'm like, they rub off on the right people. You stick the right people in that organization, and the values rub off on them, or they're there and they just pulled them out and they showed them what engaging properly looks like. And I'm like, nobody taught him that. He just saw it, he liked it, he tried it, he did it, he got good at it, and now he just does it random. He did it, I'm like, randomly, and I was like worth every dollar he made to me.
Yeah.
Like a father proud moment. I'm putting that feather in my cap, right?
Yeah, no.
Ding.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. And so, it's funny is I've seen that happen like almost in reverse and then forward, where listen, when you're running any business, whether you're an employee or manager or the owner of the business, like, you don't get every hire perfect. I always joke, half joke. I'm like, look, I bat about 50%, and I screen the fucking hell out of people before I hire them, because, it's either a strengths issue, or sometimes it's a values issue. And so I've had it where I've had toxic managers in my organization, and I've seen the people that work under them. And for me, I'm like, okay, how do I get this guy out of here or girl out of here? Because they're not a cultural fit. They're not a values fit for the organization. But what I noticed, and when I noticed it, was when I would see that their direct reports, because that's CEO of a pretty big company, like compared to small businesses, and, we had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of employees. And so I wasn't in their interactions, right? I was pretty removed from most of most of the interactions that you do see in a small business. You don't see if you have 900 employees. And so what I did notice, though, was when I would get complaints against managers who I knew had good hearts and were good people, and they were complaints that mimicked the same complaints I was getting about the person above them that I wasn't sure of. And I saw the toxic effects of what a bad manager can do to a good person. And then when I inevitably would get rid of, ask that person who was toxic to leave, and they did, I would see that person who I was seeing toxic behavior from pull a 180, and they would gravitate to the company core values. And it's this whole game of follow the leader. This, by the way, Kris, is why I fucking hate our president, because you could give me a laundry list of great things that he's doing in the country, because I don't think everything Trump's doing is bad. There's plenty of things I disagree with, but there are some things that I'm like, dude, about time somebody's doing that. What I don't like about him is what I just said. People mimic the behavior of the leaders. And so his behavior, strip out the actions and put in all the actual behavioral issues around how he talks to people. He weaponizes words. He changes things. He lies because he has a casual relationship with the truth. And he's like, well, I'm doing it because I can, because I have to, because the media does it, which they do too. I get strategically why he does it. But my issue is that, well, then who's leading the country then? Because that's not my definition of leadership. So I do believe that leaders owe it to their constituents to set a good example and to lead what the values are of their organization.
I mean, unfortunately, we see good people leave good organizations because they have bad leaders. People don't leave companies; they leave their manager.
Right.
Fundamentally, and they're upset, and that it's you get what you tolerate, and what you tolerate will continue, and that comes from above. But it's the A players who are truly core value fits to our organizations that we've got some bad middle manager in place, and somebody above likes it whatever and doesn't step in or intervene, doesn't coach that person to be a better version of themselves, doesn't help them succeed, can't pull everyone along with them. And all those A people just, they go somewhere else.
Yeah, because they can. Your best people are not going to put up with that shit.
It's a different world right now. They could 6 months ago, and now it'd be interesting to see how that all plays out. I mean, a lot of people, there's all of a sudden there's a lot of good people available.
Look,
I think those entrepreneurs that get it right now, those entrepreneurs that get really crystal clear on where they want to go, really crystal clear on their values and purpose, and are ready to just drive forward, have, first step with working with somebody is like, what are the key functions to make this organization run like a top? Let's fill that with the best people we possibly can, rather than let's take the best people you have and find the best job for them. Like just profile. No, screw that. What do you need to get done here? Who's the best? If you don't have it, let's at least recognize that we don't. Darius is great at this, but he doesn't have time for it and doesn't want to do it. So how do we get somebody in there who really gets it, who really wants it, really has the capacity for it, is an A player in that seat, because that's a seat we need. I think this is a fundamentally awesome time for entrepreneurial companies to just grab the bull by the horns and build amazing teams around amazing ideas and visions and go make that awesome happen. And I'm super optimistic that the entrepreneur community is going to step up right now. I think we're going to see big boys, take a spanking like we've never seen before.
Yeah, you just said something I wrote down. Go make awesome happen. And so I've been saying this, I've been preaching this and I'm saying this, just out of raw, true belief, that my belief is, if we are without question going into a bottoming of a new cycle that will come out of at some point. Will it be 6 months, 1 year, 5 years? I don't know. Depends on what happens with all these things that are up in the air right now.
Depends on the market you're in too.
What's that?
It depends on the market you're in too, right?
Oh yeah. If you're in hotel business, you got some pain ahead of you. If you're in Zoom, if you're running a virtual SaaS company, then
we have a virtual SaaS company that provides an online platform for middle and high school teachers to teach their students. Fucking hockey stick.
Yeah.
about to happen for them.
You're crushing it if that's your business right now. Yeah. So, but what I tell people is, I go, listen, the world's changing and it's wanting a whole different thing than it's been willing to accept begrudgingly over the last 20 to 30 years. And the way I see it is mission, vision, and values-based organizations will be the absolute, without question, hands down leaders of the next cycle. And so when I say that and see that, it's because people want more. So using the example that you're talking about with, let's say, A players that maybe don't have as many options as they did in the 3.5% unemployment rate market. Mm-hmm. Well, if you are running a great business right now and you are taking advantage of best practices, I believe, and this is a Gallup number, that number one, people are more engaged when they're happy and when there's trust in the organization. And the data around engagement is that they're 21% more productive. So if I get 21% more productivity, that is money that goes straight to the bottom line. And so this is all about dollars and cents. When people start thinking dude, chapter 8 of my book is basically why this is not fluff, right? This is all around dollars and cents. And so, but the great nice to have here is you get to have an amazing culture that is an outcome as well. And what I say is that this is about dollars and cents. And the reason that happens is because, to your point, money's made in the downturns. Money's made when everyone's getting their asses kicked. That's when you get positioned, and that's when the people that really lead financially, and then they come out and they're turbocharged. And all the best people that left these shitty companies come to these great companies, and they're there in droves, and you get the synergistic effect of the 1 + 1 = 3. You get the 2 oxes that each pull 1,100 pounds of a barrel that when you put them together, they pull 4,000 pounds, not 2,200 pounds. So on the cart. And so like, I really, really believe that this is the time for people to step up their game, work with guys like you and girls like you who are out there pushing entrepreneurs and companies. And whether you're an entrepreneur or CEO, or whether you're an employee that's like, man, I have a great company and we could even step our game more. I do think it's about working with guys and girls like you who are coaching people into really stepping their game up. So kudos to you for that, man. I'm really pumped for you and what's going on right now.
It's exciting to be able to do something that, when you found a job that you like, when you would do it for free. And, it's just one of those things that when you get them right with somebody, the fulfillment of seeing it is just, spectacular.
That's so cool.
Whether it happens on a personal level, whether it happens on an executive level, or when it happens with an entrepreneurial team, like it's all, for me, it's the fuel that feeds my soul. And, I love getting to do it every single day. Yeah,
man. I love that. I love that you feel that way, and I feel that way too myself. And I'm stepping out of my old business and stepping into a whole new. I call it Darius 2.0. So it's about, to your point, waking up fired up. I get up 4 o'clock every morning right now, just fired up, ready to get after it. I've never done that before. Dude, listen.
So we have a K2 and then we'll have a D2. Right?
Dude, hells yeah! I'm gonna get a D2. I'm gonna get my wife told me I'm not allowed to get tattoos, but maybe I will. Hey, we did have a question from earlier today, and dude, as always, I get into the weeds with the people I love on these shows, and I forget to ask if there's questions. But let's pound out a question. We're coming up to the top of the hour, and we'll get this wrapped up. One of the questions was from earlier around the Ironman stuff, but it said burnout is huge when training for races. What is your advice to push through burnout and keep going? And this probably applies to business too.
You have to rest, recover, and relax. It is part of any training program. It's part of it's part of life. And everyone's different how much time they need. But if you're training for an Ironman, you can't go 7 days on all the time. Like, we confuse busy with productive, and we wear it on our sleeves as this badge of honor, right? I'm busy. I'm going 100 miles an hour, but you're not going 100 miles an hour in any particular direction. You're just going 100 miles an hour. Who cares? You're like NASCAR going left. You keep coming back to the pits. I want to fly, right? And occasionally I have to stop and refuel. I got to put some more food on the plane. I got to take a nap. I got to take a whole week's vacation. Listen to your body. And if you don't, it'll cost you in the end.
Yeah. Ain't that the truth, brother? Yeah. And I agree with you. It doesn't matter if it's business, your job, training for a try,
So they say it takes 14 days of unplugging to get a full reconnect. 14. Like, I don't know anyone who truly takes the 14. We're doing a 7-day tech-free vacation starting Friday. Like, I don't know who does it 14, but that's what physiologically, that's what it really takes. And we don't, as a society, we don't even come close to that, right? People are like, oh, I did 12 hours tech-free. I'm like, yeah, but you went to bed at 10 and woke up at 8. So 8 of them you were sleeping, dude. That doesn't count.
Yeah, I tell people,
become a Jew and take Saturday off, right? Like it's the greatest thing in the world. Friday night disconnect, Saturday morning plug back in. Just try it. I triple dog, double dare anyone. Just practice being a Jew for a long weekend.
Digital and or real Sabbath.
Yeah, you can't carry your keys, can't carry your phone, none of that unless you go to New York with the red ribbons around the whole city. Then you can carry your keys and
There's a
beautiful thing about it.
You know what I test people to do on that? I tell them, go leave your phone at home and go out, leave your house. Just go drive to go to the store or something. Do it for 30 minutes. Watch what happens to your body. Your body will be like anxious to want that freaking phone. I do it. I'm like, this is crazy. It's like being a cigarette addict where you like.
I like the 30-minute thing because that's what I say everyone needs 30 minutes every single day. That's just them. And I like walk outside barefoot and just walk around your house.
Yeah,
Touch the ground with your, right? That's it.
The three keys to winning, you just nailed one of them. Walking around barefoot outside, just on the grass, touch the ground, let your feet feel dirt. That is the most, I do it every single day, and it's life-changing. If you're feeling like shit, go walk in your backyard or front yard, or go walk at a park for 20 feet barefoot. Do that. Hug someone, chest to chest, oxytocin exchange. And number 3, leave your phone at home for 30 minutes.
So let's up the game on the chest to chest. So we go right, go left, because it's the heart touching the other heart.
Oh, okay. I told my son, I called
and I'll show you something.
I put shoes on when I'm in my office, but I do walk around barefoot. But yeah, my son calls it the heart-to-heart huggle. And I'm telling you what, man, it's gotten me through some really tough times. So with that said, man, we're going to wrap the show up here. Dude, where can our audience find you?
Kris Kaplan into the Google. Like my cell phone is on my homepage. So if you can't find Kris Kaplan, both names with a K, I don't know where you were looking.
And what's your webpage?
KrisKaplan.com. I'm Kris at Kris Kaplan. My cell phone number 781-718-4656. I'm here 24/7. Let's make awesome happen.
Boom. Make awesome happen. Guys, thank you so much for joining us today. If you like the show, check us out at The Real Darius M on Facebook, The Greatness Machine on YouTube, or at my website, www.therealdarius.com, and all the other Twitters and Googles and all that good stuff. Guys, love you. Thank you for joining us, Kaplan. Mr.
Thanks,
Kaplan,
everyone.
So much gratitude for you, brother. Thank you. I'll give you a big hug if you're right here. All right, guys. Thank you. Talk